All right, everybody, we are live, 6 o'clock on the nose. I was going to be early, but unsurprisingly, like every day, news broke, and I updated the projections as many times as I could, which took us right up to the 6 o'clock lock. NS Cantor is doubtful is the newest little tidbit of love that came out a couple minutes ago that makes a couple other players pretty attractive in this particular voodoo that we're doing today. My dog approves. So, toying with some prices a little bit, moving a couple guys around in hypothetical FanDuel or DraftKings lineups, seeing how priced a couple guys are at various sites. We're down to 2 chat windows for today. That's exciting for me. So conceivably I will see at least 25% of your questions, which those of you who have been following the show know that's pretty significant upgrade. It's worth mentioning we're an hour out, but Cantor is still going to engender some kind of ownership, especially with NFL football coming up. There is a reasonable correlation between how many people screw up getting out late swap guys and whether or not there's football concurrently on the same day. So certainly something to keep in mind. We're not quite at the point where I would recommend an increase in exposure, but it is something I harp on a little bit in when I talk about process. Is most gambling events, be they poker or blackjack, are predicated, if you want to win, on changing the size of your wager when you feel yourself advantaged, and that is something I find conspicuously absent from the playbook of most DFS players, including many of those I respect quite a bit. So toying through here for a couple of minutes, looking for some value, checking a couple of things, but in about 20 seconds or so, I think we will begin going through the games. There are 6 of them this evening. It's a nice proper slate. This will be the last significant slate of the preseason I will be doing alone. I'm happy to announce that Ship My Money, Adam Scher, will be joining me on Wednesday and Friday to handle those couple larger slates so that I can devote a little bit more of my time to hammering out the actual details and keeping an eye on news and checking all my sources. Not that you guys have not done a phenomenal job of being my eyes and ears. I think through the entire preseason there's basically 1.5 pieces of news that I wished I had gotten to that I had not. There's plenty of news tonight. Let's get into that now. A lot of coaches mentioning they're going to play closer to a regular season rotation. So this is going to be kind of a real slate. It's pretty exciting. Brief note on the slate. The final game between Golden State and Phoenix is between 217 and is 230 over under. All the other 5 games are basically somewhere between a 217 and a 232. Oh, I've got to retweet this or people will get angry at me. I said when it goes, I will boom, boom, retweet. There you go. Sorry, I was used to the Periscope and the thing auto doing, and people are calling. Sorry, like 16 Twitter notifications. We're at 6:04. Where are you? So hello, welcome. We're just getting started. You haven't missed anything. I do apologize for the malapropism there for a second. So where's my notes? Over here. Get back over here. Alrighty, Chicago. Omer Seek, Lauri Markkanen, and Denzel Valentine should still be out. The last game they got positively destroyed by the Bucks by 34, I think it was. They were down 20 at the half, and the minutes went all to shit. The only news I'm especially waiting on is if Zach LaVine will play. Someone feel free to throw it at me if that has been confirmed. They do have 2 additional games, one Wednesday, one Friday. This is only their 3rd of 5 games. A lot of the teams tonight have 2 games remaining on Wednesday and Friday. Some only have 1. Starters only played 17 to 20 minutes last game because they got smoked. In the first game, they played 22 to 25 for all the non-Robin Lopez starters, who gets his minutes generally hatcheted because of the presence of Portis and Wendell Bud Carter Jr. off the bench. I think it's safe to expect at least that tonight, plus maybe a little more, so I would hesitantly raise that 22 to 25 to 24 to 27. I have not specifically seen a quote from Hoiberg to that effect. Again, that last game was an absolute shit show. Holiday, Levine, and Parker put up combined 6 for 32 from the field. Jabari banged out a hot 1 for 12. You know who that makes me like? Jabari Parker. Just saying. 12 shots in like 20 minutes. Thumbs up. They are going into... So, a little more about them. Basically, Levine, if we get confirmation that he is definitely playing. I know Canner is out and Vonleh starting. We will definitely be talking about the Knicks. Those of you looking at the projections, I did not have time to update the projections for the 5th time to handle that Knicks news. But if you're curious right now, the brief take on the Knicks is Noah Vonleh is great. I assume he's minimum price absolutely everywhere. And I would certainly... I actually think he's 4,400 on DraftKings now that I think about it. He's 35 on DK, and words cannot be expressed how much better than, say, I don't know, TJ Leaf he would be tonight in your lineup. So don't let friends play TJ Leaf. But Kevin Knox, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Noah Vonleh are all very, very strong plays. Those are the 3 guys we like the most. Originally, the 4 guys I liked on this team were those 3, and Enes Kanter, who is now doubtful. You do want to confirm he is actually out. I don't even know what his particular malady is. I've been so busy, but something wrong with the Enes. Past that, going to the bench, probably Mario Hezonja is the guy I would go at. I really don't want to screw around with their point guard rotation. If we got a confirmed starter, I'd think about it. You could make an Alonzo Trier theory. He's going to take a lot of shots off the bench. Other guys I would like more tonight on a fuller slate. Guys priced a little better. Mario Hezonja, probably the guy off the bench I would look at there. So that's my quick 5 seconds on the Knicks there. So Bulls, Zach LaVine certainly worth taking a shot at. Jabari Parker, as I mentioned in tournaments, I think is cute. Was very good and showing how he can have a very strong game. Minutes might come up from 22 to 24 to 26 or something tonight. If he's taking a dozen shots, I've had some interest. You could pull into a double-double. Price isn't too bad some places. Chris Dunn would be viable in tournaments. We are live. Someone in the premium chat, please communicate that information and share a link if at all possible. Bobby Portis off the bench is actually, believe it or not, by hair the guy I've projected for the most fantasy points on this team. I think you can roll that out there again. He just dominates the usage on that second unit. Past that, my second favorite would be Antonio Blakeney, who's had the 2 really oddly disparate lines of 22 points, 2 rebounds and an assist, and then 8, 8, and 6 in the next game. So he's managed to get into the 20s in fantasy points twice. One pretending he was Jamal Crawford, and once pretending he was Ricky Rubio. It was a little bit weird. They are your Bulls, your Charlotte team. 4th of their 5 preseason games. No Wednesday game for them. They finish Friday in Dallas, so no game for 4 days. Dims Brago recently said, as in the last 20 minutes or so, that he planned on upping their guys a little more minutes. That's pretty exciting. The entire team is healthy, which is a little bit disappointing, but I think some guys are going to fall out of the rotation here and projected it as such. I don't know if Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is going to play. You want him out if you're playing any of the other bigs, but it's not going to be a big consideration. It might be none at all. We like the matchup with Chicago a good bit. Should be some decent action here. I've tenuously dropped them all the way down to an 11-man rotation tonight, with Frank picking up a handful from last time, but I've excluded the 4 guys who played 3 or 4 minutes last game. Kemba got himself 31 minutes last time. Hard not to like him. Hard also to think that comes up too much. Kemba was very good last game, but he played 31 minutes. Him randomly getting 35 in this game would really shock me. So he is the one guy to whom I would not feel relatively advantaged this game versus last. Hard not to like the matchup with the Bulls, although Chris Dunn is a quality defender, and we'll get the defensive assignment on him. Miles Bridges is someone I would have probably the next interest in for me in tournaments, just because he obviously had very strong games. The first 2 games of the preseason, very, very strong. Runs that second unit in usage, has been getting minutes in the mid to even high 20s. Was kind of bad last game, so his ownership is going to fall back down to 4% tonight. So I would have some interest in building some Bridges tonight. They go, so that's game 1. Game number 2, Indiana going into Cleveland. 3rd of only 4 preseason games for Indiana, who does not get a home game at all. They finish Wednesday. Nate McMillan said he expects to have more of a regular season rotation today, which is kind of amusing because the first game of the preseason he ran 9 guys, which is tighter than his regular season rotation by a guy usually, but whatever. Thaddy Daddy is out again. Kojo is out. Corey Joseph is out. Aaron Holiday will probably pick up some minutes there. We're awaiting Tyreek news. My Aaron Holiday interest would be sort of commensurate with the Tyreek news. If Tyreek is in, I'm very interested in playing Tyreek. Again, he's just listed as having questionable with his ankle. He played last game questionable with the same injury. So It's whether or not it got worse. So normally questionable in the preseason. I'm a little more reticent, a little more reluctant to run guys out there. Tyreek, having successfully played in a game already, I think is a little more likely he goes. I'll go 60, 40, 70, 30 Tyreek goes. If Tyreek is out, I'm much more interested in Aaron Holiday, who I think might only get 16, 18 minutes if Reek plays. So if Reek is out, definitely like Aaron Holiday. If Tyreek is in, I like Tyreek. Just tournaments, because again, all sorts of questions around that. Oladipo is obviously one of the guys here. I have him projected a little worse than several of the other studs. Right now I got him at about 28 minutes and 35 fantasy points. That's just fine. I wouldn't have any issue with playing him, but there's other studs around his price I think I like a touch more. Do you think the Cavs run it low on starters, minutes, etc. because they are already sitting Love? I don't. I'll get into the Cavs in a second, but I think they let the other starters run out the string a bit, and that would fall into line with Ty Lue's tendencies the last 2 years. TJ Leaf plays on Indiana. Don't do it. Don't just play Noah Vonleh. Left people who play TJ Leaf. Tournament certainly in a decent matchup. You can Bogdan Bogdanovic. You can always Miles Turner in tournaments. This day is no different. Same thing Sabonis, especially where he's fills in a nice power forward spot for you. But that would be my druthers on this team. Third game of 4 for the Cavs. They finish up Friday with the Pistons. They sat 4 starters last game, everybody but Chetty. But then they just fucked everybody's minutes again. 2 games in a row. I think every starter in both games played 19 minutes, but nobody quite got to 20. Both of the first 2 games, which is kind of scary because they still managed to beat the Celtics twice. And I'm pretty high on the Celtics, but that's minorly concerning. It's obviously preseason and yada yada, but they even ran out their starters a fair bit. And no, the Cavs sitting 4 starters and playing none of the second unit really more than 19 minutes. Yeah, they still took it down, so... So if we look at the last couple years, for example, last year they had 5 games. In the third game, with 2 left, they sat a lot of the starters. In the fourth game, which would be the equivalent of tonight's game, tonight's 3 out of 4, I'm talking about the 4 out of 5 last year. They played the starters 21, 25, 27, 27, 30. Kevin Love got 21 only on a truly hard shooting night, 1 for 12 from the field, which I think is why they said, why don't you sit a couple plays out, Kevin? I'm going to guess we get similar proportions tonight. It's a little bit speculative, but they are sitting out Kevin Love and Jordan Clarkson and David Nwaba and Rodney Hood. So that's, a lot of usage opening up on that team. Clarkson off the bench and Hood and Love being really the 2 big guys starting for that team. So I think Chetty Osman, obviously, especially on FanDuel where he is the butt minimum, is pretty appealing. But you get, in theory, expanded minutes and usage for even guys in tournaments to try like Colin Sexton and George Hill and Tristan Thompson and Lance. But I think Chetty is the default immediate place to fire a bullet at this lineup. All the bigs are there, so I have to wonder how much time you get with center next to center between Tristan and Nance and Zizic, who was very big in the last game. THJ or Jay Jackson, so the Suns game is faster. Jackson is going to play apparently 36, 38 minutes and take 20 shots and make somewhere between 3 and 19 of them. I would play Hardaway if they were the exact same price. I think I have him. I would have to revise my Knicks projections, which, as you know, I didn't. I think I would have him projected a little higher than THJ at this point. Sorry, try that again. I think I would have him projected a little higher than Jackson, that is THJ, to which I'm referring. And I do think the ownership is lower. I don't think you get as many people making that smart pivot. I'd be pretty surprised in this game if you didn't get THJ or Kevin Knox having a really good game here. Hardaway's been playing like 26 minutes, 27 minutes. I think that maybe comes up a little bit. His usage is certainly going to come up a little bit. Kevin Knox has been playing into the 30s, and neither of them are, terribly expensive. Do you think Igor plays Ariza and Anderson more like 25 minutes? That's a real question. Obviously, they fired the GM today. Who knows what is the exact proximate cause for that decision? But we'll do that when we get down to the Suns. So let's move on to our next game. Brooklyn. This is only their second of 4 preseason games. They have 2 more on Wednesday and Friday. Shabazz Napier will be out. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson will be out. Barring news, I really don't think I want to play anyone on this team. Looking at previous years, much like we did with Ty Lue, if we look at Kenny Atkinson, he's basically a dick with the minutes. Last game, people were talking about we wanted to try Jared Allen. We expect his minutes to come up this year. We wanted to try Karis LeVert. We thought his minutes come up this year. They didn't, and they didn't. In the opening game versus the Knicks, ironically, good segue, the starters played 18 to 21 minutes. They played 9 guys off the bench, with the top 4 of those getting 19 to 21 minutes. No one exceeded 21 minutes. They still have 2 more games. And plus Kenneth Reed, I think, dresses and plays tonight, so now they're running out a 15th guy. I could see Jared Allen or Karis LeVert in tournaments. Maybe D'Angelo Russell, and just hoping the minutes break your way. I don't even think I could do that last one, so where appropriate, and if you're building a lot of lineups, Karis LeVert, sure, you'll get him low owned, and there is a big upside there. You can do a little bit of everything. Jared Allen, same general dealio, but very little interest in the Nets. Detroit, 3rd of 5 games for Detroit. They also play on Wednesday and Friday. Drummond obviously has great appeal, and Dwayne Casey has indicated he would play again tonight, which helps a little bit because otherwise we'd have some concern. One thing I want to mention about tonight real quick, 4 of the 6 games going off right at 7. So we're going to have a little fun ownership game right after this. Or I don't know about a game, but there's going to be a lot of ownership to take a look at. I'm looking forward to that. Blake and Reggie will make their debut but play limited minutes. I think I had them projected for 14 and 16. I think Rod Beard, our favorite DFS-friendly beat reporter, said he thought they'd play 15 to 20, so you're looking in that range. I think that takes them both out of consideration. Conceivably, you can have it make Drummond a slightly worse play, rebounding a little worse with Blake there as opposed to, say, Henry Ellenson, etc., etc. But that's enough to take me off Henry Ellenson and Dish Smith. If you had any interest, the only other guy in Detroit I'd probably be looking at is, the first guy would be looking at would be Stanley Johnson, who took 11 shots last game in 29 minutes. Didn't do a lot with them. I think he made 2, but if Stan's getting 29 minutes against the Nets, that's obviously a great matchup, so I'd have some interest there. And you could even Reggie Bullock in tournaments, who does have that kind of upside and can just bang out some real threes for you. Moving on to the next game, Orlando, the first of the many teams tonight to say their starters would play near regular season minutes. Clifford came out and said that earlier today, and in his pregame comments, only I think about 20-30 minutes ago, came out and clarified that 32 would be too many. So yeah, I sort of felt that from the beginning and projected him for, I think, 29 and 30 for most of the starters, which I do think will be right about the number. Isaac is out, Timofey Mozgov is out, Terrence Ross is out. So Vooch versus Whiteside and Whiteside versus Vooch is one of my favorite centery head-to-head things to talk about. We did this several times last year, and I'm not going to lie. I am not going to let or lie. Money. So these are just, I'm going to read them in order. In the last game, Whiteside had 26 and 22 with a block and an assist. Vooch had only 19 and 12 with an assist, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. The time before that, Whiteside had 15 and 18 with a block. Vooch had 25 and 9 with an assist, a steal, and 3 blocks. The time before that, Whiteside had 12 and 19 with an assist, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Vooch had 13 and 17 with 3 assists and 3 steals. The time before that, Whiteside had 32 and 15 with a steal and 5 blocks. Vooch had 26 and 12 with 3 assists and 2 blocks. I could keep going. The one before that is 26 and 12, 18 and 14, 4 blocks and 2 blocks respectively. Like 5 times in a row, they both savaged each other, which is funny because it happens the same way every time. Vooch can't handle Whiteside within 6 feet of the rim, and Whiteside can't get more than 6 feet away from the rim and stop Vooch from making all the shots. So, goodies. It's back from the days ago. Look back 6-7 years ago. It was the old Brandon Knight, Kemba Walker. Look that one up. But, yeah, when Vooch and Whiteside play each other on sites where you can play Vooch and Whiteside, play Vooch and Whiteside has been a giant moneymaker each of the last 5 times they've done it. They've averaged collectively like 87 fantasy points between them. Tends to be good. Obviously, most of those games you're looking at 31, 35, even into the 40s in minutes a couple times there. Won't be quite that high, but it's certainly a good matchup for both of them. I'll put it that way. I think I like Vooch a little more. He's going to be lower owned because unlike Whiteside, he hasn't been going off this preseason. Next guy you'd obviously look at would be Aaron Gordon. I like trying to get Aaron Gordon or Vooch into your lineups if you're playing Vooch, alongside Whiteside. Maybe you leave off Aaron Gordon. Those are the 2 guys on Orlando we certainly have the most interest in. Wes Iwundu makes an interesting value play who should get the start with Jonathan Isaac still out. And I do think he gets about 24 minutes. I have him a little less than the other starters. They'll fill in some guys. There will be some Simmons. We'll play backup 1 and 3, I think. You could DJ Augustine if you're building a giant pile of lineups. You could Evan Fournier, though he hasn't looked great if you were building a giant pile of lineups. But the bigs there, certainly the guys we're looking at. And like many of these teams, we're a little less excited about some of the bench guys, obviously, because when the starters play more minutes, the bench plays less minutes. #analysis. Miami, 4th of their 6 preseason games. Lucky them, and the Lakers and like one other team. They play Wednesday and Friday. Adebayo is out. Airplane Mode is out. James Johnson is still out. Wayne Ellington is out. A couple guys on this team are out. I'm not as much of a fan as I would like to be outside of Whiteside. Dragic played very limited minutes last game. He probably gets back up to 24, 25. Sure, I could see doing that in a tournament. You can always do Kelly Olynyk in a tournament when he starts. I don't think the matchup with Orlando particularly plays towards him, so I would be disinclined, but he always has an upside because he can bang out threes and grab a double-double. But again, having those other two hosses out there doesn't really help him with the rebounding part of that. Justice Winslow is always playable in tournaments and reasonable. If he was minimum, is a safe cash punt. Sort of the same thing with Rodney Magruder, but Jay Rich is up to probable, I believe. I did project him to play and projected him for 20 minutes. I would think he would start and play fewer minutes if he did, but no one else on the team really makes my socks roll up and down. But I would say Whiteside, Dragic, Olynyk for my 1, 2, 3 in tournaments. Moving on, let's talk about your Washington Wizards. Apparently the player blurb on DK still says he'll play 1 quarter. That is not the case. Scotty Brooks has come out and said that they'll be still playing significant minutes, but no more than 28 tonight. He also termed it as same as last game, where most of them played 24 to 26, depending on how you parse that. They probably won't be as good as they were last game. Like 4 of the 5 starters were good last game. Markieff had a 13-10 double-double. They were all 24-25 minutes and basically all had decent games. Wall had 9-9-5-3-2, so 3 steals, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds, 9 points, 9 assists. So he was up around 40. Beal had 25-2-2-1, also got well into the 30s. Otto is the worst, I guess, with 20 fantasy points. Jan Mahinmi is a very reasonable GPP play. Only GPPs for me, but I think he plays 24 to 26 minutes again, and he's a very good steals or blocks guy. Last game he had 11 and 4 with 2 steals and 2 blocks. Dwight Howard is out again, so he's going to get that start. I do expect the minutes for the Stars to creep up a little bit, so I'd be less interested in guys like Oubre or Austin Rivers, though if you wish to play a bench guy on Miami, I would play Oubre, then Rivers, then I guess Satoransky if you really wanted to spice up your life. I know there's a lot of pending questions. You didn't say anything about the Wizards. I just did. Ayton or Whiteside and Vooch on DK. Ayton versus Whiteside and Vooch on DK. I think Ayton is the most popular of them, and then Whiteside, and then Vooch, and I love them all, and they all project very, very similarly. So just for ownership, and we'll see how that is, at least between the first 2 of them, I would prefer Vooch in tournaments. In cash, I have them all projected very, very close to each other. I would probably prefer Ayton there just because of guaranteed uses. FanDuel still has Beal listed as a point guard. Yeah, I don't have... It's a short show, guys, because I don't have time to go into all the things that are messed up with FanDuel's product right now. But, it's not like we're pouring money into it in the preseason. Definitely don't have one employee spend 6 minutes a day to update it. New York, so no Porzingis, of course. Courtney Lee and Mitchell Robinson are still questionable. I think someone just said Frank or Alonzo for a cheap Knick play. I don't really want to play either of those guys. I would play Alonzo. Frank just isn't a usage guy, isn't a shooter guy, doesn't create his own stuff. I don't think takes advantage of all the extra time. If Mitchell Robinson plays, is very interesting in a tournament format. Skinny Shack is very, very good times with Cantor out. Might get like 22 minutes, and I'd project him for 28 in his 22 minutes or something. Like he's all kinds of fantasy goodness. Not 28, 26 though. So Cantor is doubtful. Ntilikina, Hardaway Jr., Knox, Lance, and Noah Vonleh will start. I guess that makes Ntilikina a little more interesting. I had gotten my starters confused. I just reread the tweet. So with Ntilikina starting, he's absolutely in play in this scenario, though keep in mind they're going to give minutes to 3 guys behind him. I don't think he gets more than, say, 24 minutes. If you looked at the starters last game, Moutier started and got 22, I think. Lance got 23. Hardaway 26, Canner 28, Knox 34. So again, the guys here I really want are Knox and or Hardaway. I would try to have one of either of them. One of them? Let's just go with one of them and save a word. One of them in most lineups I build. I don't hate both of them. Noah Vonleh is going to be a really, really good value play. He's a point per minute guy. He got a double-double in the last game, and I believe he played 13 minutes and put up like 13 and 10 or something like that. And it's a reasonable matchup for that. So, I really like me some Knickerbockers there. Again, Zonia off the bench, probably the first place. I am looking there. Moving into our final game. I did this at a pretty impressive pace. I just want to point that out. Moving into our final game, Golden State, third of 5 preseason games. They play the Lakers on Wednesday and the Lakers on Friday. Those games won't sell any tickets. I expect Steph to return. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but that was my expectation all day. Draymond will still be out. Clay and Durant played 23 and 26 last game and beasted in their 23 and 26. I expect them and Steph to be in that range again tonight, and the other spot starters fewer. Last time you had Derrickson and Ulis and Damian Jones out there. I think Damian Jones probably gets the nominal start again, though he plays less minutes than 2 centers off the bench. Ulis will obviously return to the bench. I don't know if they run Derrickson out again at the 4, but it doesn't matter. You play Jordan Bell regardless. If you're going to play anyone other than the 3 studs, you would play Jordan Bell off the bench, then Kevon Looney. Either of which could randomly end up starting at the 4. We probably won't know before that game gets going. Steve Kerr played 15 guys again that last game. He's going to play 16 guys tonight probably, so you want those 3 starters if anything. But if you want some cheapie off the bench in this game, it would be Bell then Looney for me. Phoenix, Devin Booker is out. McCall Bridges is out. Ryan McDonough is out. DeAndre Ayton is good. DeAndre Ayton has... does Durant play tonight? I expect Durant to play. Steph wasn't rested per se. Steph had a personal issue. I don't recall what it was specifically. I don't know if it's publicly disclosed, but he was not rested. He did not travel with the team because he had something he had to do, for what it's worth. So I expect Durant to play, but I don't think there's any reason to play him on FanDuel. I mean, it's still Kevin Durant, but Curry back is a minor downgrade for him. The matchup with Phoenix is obviously incredible. Rank the studs. I think I ended up projecting Durant for less than a point more than Curry. So Durant, Curry, Clay, although Clay at his price is absolutely fine. They're playing Phoenix, so you can hope the game stays close, but they should be able to eat. This Phoenix team is going to be very, very bad on defense. They literally have 2 workable defenders on the entire roster and a lot of guys who are workable in the other way. Don't play any of the point cards on Phoenix. Don't play Isaiah Cannon and be like, he got 30 whatever minutes last time. I'm taking the under on that number of minutes for him. They have basically 4 point guards they're going to screw around with. Basically, this team is DeAndre Ayton and Josh Jackson. They're both playing 30x minutes. Ayton has not had a bad game yet. His worst game was his 24-9 game, where he had a couple blocks too. So he hasn't had a game under 40 fantasy points, I don't think, yet. And they've all been really solid. He's probably better cash play at pace and at more guaranteed usage in time than Vooch and Whiteside. So cash, I'm probably on him. Tournaments, I probably move away because I expect him to be the most popular. More minutes, Vooch or Ayton? I have to take Ayton. Ayton I would have at 34 or something, and the coach just came out and Vooch just came out and said 32 would be too many. So I'm fairly certain Ayton has beaten 32 every game. I could be mistaken. And let me know if I am. I'm going to take 30 seconds and chat a little bit here. Who wins best value play on this slate besides Vonleh? It's an interesting question. It's going to be a little site dependent. Mitchell's apparently 8, so there. Frank, Nick, or Aaron Holiday, cheap guard play. Right now, until you give me some Tyreek news, I'll go with Frank. Enes Kanter expected to rest. Okay. Yeah, Vamos, great. Does Durant play tonight? I expect Durant Golden State studs. I did that. More minutes. Vucer 8 is 8, and I did that. I think I've seen all these. If Phoenix randomly starts Melton, is he in play? No. You know who started last game? Elliot Kobo at point guard. You know how many minutes he played? I can count it on these hands. So starting doesn't matter to me. They literally have 4 point guards. None of them are even like great in fantasy. So I don't trust these Indiana minutes. Well, you should, because Nate McMillan came out and said that he was going to play it, quote, more like a regular season game. Now, in fairness, in the first game, he tried to run a 9-person rotation, which is redonkulous. But he's basically saying you can count on my guys. I think they're up around 28, 29 minutes. Nate is, he's a 17-year veteran as a head coach or something. He's not usually, frankly, as random and fucked up as that one first game was. But I think you can fairly confidently count on a good load of minutes from Oladipo and Miles Turner. I have less than Oladipo. I think you get 28, 29 Oladipo, 24, 25 Miles Turner, 27, 28 Domantas Sabonis if you're looking that way, 28 TJ Leaf if you're looking that way. Don't look that way. Don't go there. 26, 27 for Bojan. Collison is not out of the realm of possibility as a tournament play. Sometimes that goes off. Maybe they stretch him a little more with no Kojo. Sabonis or Josh Jackson utility spot. I mean, I still have to project Josh Jackson for a little bit more, but I don't mind Sabonis. It's more of a tournament play. What would I do with small forward on FanDuel Cash? Just play Knox and THJ? I imagine I'd consider saving some money and playing Chetty would be the other guy who just off the top of my head, thinking about that spot comes to mind. Going over and looking now, there's studs I'd rather spend up on for Durant. I mean, Josh Jackson is there, and he's 5,900. That's kind of hard to get away from. So yeah, there's some real beats here. Check and see if we can find any more super value guys on FanDuel who I didn't remember. So Noah Vonleh at 3,500 is pretty awesome. Chetty Osman at 3,500. I expect to get a lot of usage here. Rodney Magruder is still in play, though less exciting in tournaments because you can get a lot of upside. Alonzo Trier is 3,500. I don't think I'm quite to the level in my life. I haven't drank enough to get down to Langston Galloway. I think his minutes fall off today, too. Other dudes. I'm just scanning. Jan Mahinmi if you wanted to punt center, which feels like a terrible idea. There's a couple good centers tonight. But if for some reason you wanted to do that, Kevon Looney is 3,500. You can do that over Noah Vonleh. Looking for other basically min-priced guys who are interesting. Willie Hernangomez is 3,500 on FanDuel? Come on. Stop it now. I think it's been the 6s or something on DK. I'm even going to look because I'm just curious. Isn't he? Yeah, he's 6,400. Willie Hernangomez is 3,500. Now, Zeller, if they haven't said, is going to start tonight, is almost certainly going to start. I expect him to start during the regular season. But, he's going to play, you just get 17, 18 minutes out of Willie Hernangomez, and he can put up 30 in that time. Like, he's pretty much a beast. Chetty minutes projection, 28. Zach LaVine, yeah, Zach LaVine, I think practiced over the weekend, so he should be close to 100%, but I'm a little worried about his thigh bruise. Anything on Indy? Yes, they're going to play more minutes if that's what you're chatting amongst yourselves. Ignore me. Projections love Collison at his price. Yeah, it's not unreasonable. He's going to get a lot of time as a starting point guard. I mean, favorite DK value play for cash besides Vonleh? Who's not insane? George Hill is not completely ridiculous at 4,500. I don't hate the matchup. I think that's something you can do, though I would not feel terribly great about it in cash. But again, that starting unit is missing a lot of usage. Cash. Frank Ntilikina's 46. I can get behind 46 for a starting point guard, but again, I do think the minutes are suspect, to say the least. Make sure if you play M. Bridges, you play Miles Bridges on Charlotte, not McCall Bridges on Phoenix, who is not marked as out or anything on here, which seems bad. Let's see. Alright, let's scroll it up from the top and look at a couple other things. Yeah, Chetty on DK at 5,200 is less exciting, but there's still an upside for him to achieve at that price. TJ Leaf at 5,400 is really not exciting. I will get back and take more questions in just a minute. We have like 20-something minutes. Our pace today has been outstanding. Sexton is in play at 5,800. You can certainly do that as well. And they've indicated that he's going to spend some time next to George Hill today. And Rodney Hood is out. So, you know, you could flirt with randomly getting 30 minutes off those guys. Now, I think, especially for anyone who isn't phenomenally cheap, you have to be careful with anyone on Cleveland because, again, no starter has played more than 19 minutes through a couple games. I do think that comes up. I would be surprised if it didn't, but just saying, y'all. Something to keep an eye out for. Favorite GPP point guards on FanDuel? Okay, sure, we'll handle that question. I like the top two expensive, which are Kemba and Wall. They're both saying, you know, the minutes are going to come up, and that's pretty exciting. I don't want to spend $7,000 on Chris Dunn. I'm not spending that much on him. I'm not spending that much on him. I'm not spending that much on him. It's surprisingly vacant of guys I like. Frank Ntilikina because he's getting the start, and maybe you get some 30 minutes, but it's risky as hell. Wow. Point guard's freaking barren for 12 teams playing. That's amazing. That's amazing. I think I'd be playing a lot of Walker and Wall there. You know, you can obviously play Bradley Beal. I like Wall more, but Wall is 10K. Beal is 8K. That's a pretty significant difference there. Do we have Zach LaVine news yet? It seems like he's supposed to start. It seems likely. I would just like a definitely if someone happens to see it. Collison makes some sense in tournaments. George Hill still makes some sense in tournaments. DJ Augustine, if he plays 29 minutes, does not, you know, completely disgust me. Iwundu or Frank for cash? I gotta take Iwundu there. Wall or Kemba? On FanDuel, they're $1,700 disparate. On DK, they are here somewhere, I would think. There's Walker, there's... Right, so on DK, I would play Wall. I do like him a little more raw points. On FanDuel, I'll save $2,000, and I will play Kemba and not Johnny. So, like that. Help him out if I do it like that. Wall over Steph? I don't know. I think you get 24 of Steph, 28 of Wall. That's going to come down pretty close to its high. I will take Wall over Steph by a point or two, though. Looking over to some of these YouTube questions. Top GPP forwards on FanDuel. You didn't say small or whatever, so Knox, Hardaway, Osman, Ayton, Vonla, Gordon. So many of them off the top of my head. Monk on FanDuel. They said they're going to give more time to the starters. That's enough to take me off of it, but it's not insane if you're playing a few lineups. Chetty or Sexton in cash? I'll take Chetty. Thoughts on Oladipo GPP only? I can conceive of having him in cash on FanDuel where they have completely fucked the pricing so much that, you know what I'm saying? Like on FanDuel, the pricing is so derfed that, you know, you can just play minimum price guys. We project for 28 in a couple places, so you're just sort of looking for gross points, and then you would play Oladipo Clay or something like that or Oladipo Tyreek if we find out he's in, things like that. So, yeah. Yeah. You can play monsters on FanDuel. Sorry, I'm just messing around with a FanDuel lineup, and it's like, you can play anybody you want. You just have to throw in some of these 3,500ers, and there's not a small number of 3,500ers that you can get your grips on. Like even like Kevin Knox at 5,100. That's pretty sexy. Zach LaVine is a point guard on FanDuel too. Why wouldn't he be? It's not like he's not a point guard. Someone pointed out my projection there for Zach LaVine. I do think that was a malapropism. I am looking at my core sheet right now, and I have 24 and 31.7, and I don't think that is what I saw. So, for reference, I have 24 minutes, 31.7 fantasy points. Is Depot playing tonight? Almost certainly. He's at the last game, and there's been no contrary opinion. Thoughts on Mo Bamba for a FanDuel GPP? I don't mind him. There's the risk the minutes come down, but I honestly think they come up a little bit. I projected him halfway decent. Please rank FanDuel centers for GPP. Vooch, I'm pretty sure is going to be number 1. Drummond is 99. Vooch is 77. I have them projected almost identically. And Ayton is in the center there. So Vooch is 800 more than Whiteside, but I kind of like that there. I think that gives me the ownership differential I really like. So I'll go with Vooch. Whiteside, Drummond, and there's a lot of guys you can fire a bullet at here at center. You can cheap out on Hernan Gomez or Jan Mahinmi. I don't think I'd Kyle O'Quinn. We've been through that once. I think we learned Mitchell Robinson is out. Cody Zeller, though, it's still a pretty nominal price. Kelly O is pretty much always viable in tournaments and is a center there. Domantas Sabonis. I don't want to pay that number on Jared Allen. Miles Turner. But, yeah, probably Vooch still sitting on top for me. Aaron Gordon Sexton versus Vonla Kemba. I'm going to play Vonla and Kemba, which feels a little weird. FanDuel, what about Bradley Beal at point guard? Yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable to play Bradley Beal at point guard. This does not bother me at all. I would rather play Tim Hardaway Jr. than Kevin Knox right now. Kevin Knox, while a fine basketball player, is a rook and still, needs a little tuning up. I'd still like them both a lot. At this point, I'd project Knox for something like 32 minutes and 31 or 32 fantasy points. I'd project Tim Hardaway Jr. for 28 minutes and 35 or so fantasy points. So FanDuel, you probably play Knox because he's much cheaper. I think Knox on FanDuel is 5,100. But they both project very, very nicely right now. Collison, Hill, Frank, or Iwundu. Cash, I would play Collison. Tournaments, I would play Collison. Is 3 Knicks too many? No, especially if they're Vonla, Knox, and Hardaway. It's not one of those. It's weird. Holiday in play. I don't know if we have Tyreek news yet. I would need it. Blakeney and FanDuel Cash? Fuck no. What the hell position is he in? Let me give you somebody better. Blakeney? How the hell would you end up in Blakeney and Cash? Pardon my French. Pardon my French, but you're an asshole. Let's see. He's a shooting guard. Well, alright. I guess that's how we got there, certainly. Alright, so we're punting. They're not dropping lowest score yet. That would make me much more excited about. Because then you want super cheap, kind of upside-y guy who can occasionally just bust out for 30. He'd be pretty sexy in that format. No, in Cash you play Rodney McGruder over Blakeney. Best forward, 5.1K and under on the Kings of the Draft. Well, let's see. Vonla's 4.4. I know that. Let me look at some other things. Forwards under 5.1. Very good. Yeah, I will show you this. Yeah, there's nothing really sexy. Noah Vonla is my play there at 4,400. Other than that... God, is Bell higher than 5,100? I was going to say... No, Jordan Bell, probably. I'll still take Vonla for raw points at tournaments. I might go to Jordan Bell instead. Back to here. Depot and Clay okay for Cash on FanDuel? Yes, I think that is the most logical pairing for... I was toying with a Cash lineup. Where did it go? What did I have? I had Depot and Clay. So, great or not great minds think alike. Best 5.1. I already did that. You said besides Vonla? Then, yeah, it was the other guy I just mentioned whose name I forgot in the space of 15 seconds. Because, weed kills brain cells. Jordan Bell was the other one I said I would probably go to him. But definitely sort of a barren price area. Can we expect another 34-minute game from Drummond like he got hot against OKC? He's hot all the time. Ever since he got his septum undeviated. He's breathing a lot better. Last year he learned how to pass. Forgot that this year. This year he's going to learn how to shoot threes. Next year I think he's going to play point guard or something. But You know, Drummond, let me check his DK price, because I have a feeling it's a little more competitive. 82. See, that makes it a little more interesting. I still am playing Vooch in tournaments. I really like playing 2 centers tonight. Like, are any of them forward eligible with the good centers? They're not. I think Vooch, Whiteside, Drummond, Ayton are all center on DK. So I'm a big fan of rolling 2 of them out there, and I probably prefer any of the 3 non-Ayton ones just for ownership. But Ayton looks really good. Please don't misunderstand me. Hazonia, Magruder, or Bridges. Hazonia and Bridges I like a lot in tournaments. Magruder's the cash play from those 3. Projected minutes on D-Wade, 15 or 16. Vooch or Whiteside, FanDuel cash. I'll take Whiteside. Is Steph playing? I presume, but I don't specifically know, and I have not seen it confirmed. Blakeney on DK. Yeah, he's playable in a tournament. I think he's like 43, 45 there. He's somewhere in that range. That's fine. He can get going off the bench. Hernan Gomez keeps saying play me, as well he should. Minimum price on FanDuel is stupid. Like, he is legitimately a better than fantasy point a minute guy. You know, God forbid something goes wrong with Cody Zeller, who is a guy who likes to leave games, you know, injured and stuff. So, it's possible a game with, like, yeah, I think there is reason to suspect that there could be shenanigans with Drummond, who has played a lot of minutes and who, you know, hasn't sat out any games. You know, and now gets a matchup with Brooklyn that could turn into a giant spanking. So, yeah, I would definitely keep my eyes open. But there's also all the ceiling in the universe. He, you know, just smashed the living crap out of some people. So, yeah, keep that in mind. DK GPP 9,500 left, shooting guard and utility. I'm going to guess you have Vonla, because I've mentioned him 1,000 times, Matt Smith. Otherwise, I would probably say, you know, Vonla something. I would probably say, like, Vonla Zeller. Or, oh, you would need one of them to be, like, shooting guard eligible. That makes it a little sticky. Tournament like Vonla, McCall, Williams. Portis, Wendell Carter, or Markieff Morris on FanDuel cash. Cash? Not Carter. Portis, would be Portis or Morris. I would probably play Portis. Thoughts on Hicks? Not playable to me. Favorite shooting guards on... I mean, I get your theory. You're you know, coming off the bench, the other guys are missing. Maybe he gets going, but I just think that is a step too cute for me. And I don't think he necessarily has the game to hit the upside, and I think you may get 28 minutes out of Noah Vonla. Favorite forward on DK under 4,500, not named Vonla. Boy, forwards on DK are apparently a little bit of a sticky sport. Ed Davis is exciting. Don't play Ed Davis, but I kind of want to play Ed Davis. You know, you're going to love this one. The name is Lance Thomas. He's been getting a ton of minutes, and everybody else is out. And, you know, he's in cash, so I don't need him getting upside. That's Lance Thomas's music. Whiteside and Frank, or Sabonis and Sexton on DK. Whiteside and Frank. Sorry. I want to not do it. I want to be cool. I want the other kids to like me, but Whiteside and Frank. Any news on Tyreek yet? Someone want to spam me with some Tyreek news? Tag me? So I'm trying to follow about 11 things at once. AG or Kemba on DK. Yeah, that's really close for me. I'm gonna take Kemba. The matchup is pretty solid. I would think a minute or two more. Frank or Jordy Bell. I'd play Jordy Bell in cash or in tournaments. How much Vonla would you have on DK? At 4,400? Probably around 50 or 60% exposure. Somewhere around there. Can you rank Knox, Jackson, and THJ? Yeah, on DK, those guys are all pretty similar. I think it's really close. I'm going to have Knox barely at the bottom of those three. But I think I'd have Josh Jackson, THJ, Knox in just order, sort of raw points. It's really close, though. You know what? No, I actually really wouldn't. I'd have Josh Jackson at the bottom because the defense he runs into there a couple times. That's pretty tough. So I'll actually have him at the bottom. I would go THJ, Knox, Josh Jackson. Also in tournaments, I think. FanDuel's a little easier. Knox is a cheapie. He don't cost you much on the FanDuel. DK 5300 guard. Pretty stinky, isn't it? Darren Collison at 4,800. Don't feel bad if you leave 500 on the table. Chetty or Bell, please? I'm going to play Chetty in tournaments. Bell's a better cash play. Bell is going to play 16 to 19 minutes and score 15 to 24 fantasy points probably. He's pretty consistent, believe it or not. Chetty might play only 19 minutes and, is, just working on his second year, etc. There's definitely some ways that can go wrong. So I'd probably actually play Bell in cash, who actually carries like a safer floor with him. But good question. Portis Wendell. Oh, let me scroll back to recent comments. Best shooting guard for 3,500 and best small forward for 3,500 on FanDuel. Small forward is Chetty Osman, I think, without anyone close. Shooting guard, I feel like we just did this. We did just do this. Yeah, it's Rodney Magruder. Mr. Thoughts on KD, quick summary. Pretty sure he's going to play. Pretty sure he's going to play 24, 25 minutes, give or take one. Pretty sure he'll give you 30 to 40 fantasy points. Almost a cash play. But I think I'd have very little exposure. There's a non-zero chance he sits. I don't think it's likely, but Steph got a game off. Maybe they give him a game off. So FanDuel, I'm a little more disinclined for that reason too, and just some of the cheap guys are so good. Chetty at 35, Knox at 51. Those are really exciting prices for me. Bombo, number 5, or Vonlin and GPP. I don't mind the Mo Bamba pivot in a tournament if you'd like. I'm curious how much ownership Vonlin gets. I think it's really significant though. I think Vonla on FanDuel ends up at like 40%, and on DK ends up pretty similarly in that range too. I'll tell you in 7 minutes. Kemba or THJ on DK? Really? Certainly Kemba in cash. THJ is a fine tournament pivot. I don't think the ownership is as high as it should be. But again, he sort of crushed the last game. 47 or 100 shooting guard, FanDuel, GPP. Okay, Mr. Well, nobody costs anything until you get down to 43, so that limits your options pretty quickly. You know who it isn't? It is not J.R. Smith. Might be Joe Harris. Might be Joe Harris time. I might be about to say Joe Harris in your life. It's getting ugly down here. It's getting a little stinky. Yep, in a GPP, I would play Joe Harris under that. Favorite shooting guards on FanDuel GPP. Play Thompson and Oladipo and differentiate yourself somewhere else. Magruder over Blakeney in a GPP. Well, Magruder is a better play by a few fantasy points, but Blakeney is much, much, much lower owned. So I would probably play Blakeney, depending on how chalky the rest of my lineup is and how risky I was trying to be. But preseason, you generally don't have to be too crazy. Is Wall a good play? He's a very good play on DraftKings. He is a much less good play on FanDuel where the price is expensive. But you can still play him. He can go absolutely nuts. Hill, Awundu, Magruder, or Frank Ntilikina? I feel like we've answered this question. Probably Magruder in cash. Hill or Awundu in tournaments, either one. It's fine. Wall or Kemba. Yeah, on DK they're pretty close. I will barely take Wall there, but very close. Again, if I've missed your questions, just fire them again. Fournier, Dinwiddie, Rivers, or Augustine for the guard position. Fournier or Augustine. Play one of the Magic players. Like Rivers and Dinwiddie, neither sees 20 minutes if I had to guess. Maybe Dinwiddie gets to 20 or 21. Rivers, I think, gets 18 or 19. So maybe you get like 22 is the most you get out of those guys. Fournier and Augustine are going to play 27, 28, 29, 30 minutes. So it's one of those two. Probably Fournier for me. So Steph no go on FanDuel because of the uncertainty. No, just understand you're accepting some uncertainty. It's Steph Curry. The guy can put up 58 in 24 minutes. Have fun. THJ Curry versus KD Augustine on DK. I played THJ and Curry. How many minutes is Oladipo playing tonight? 28. Shit, you were on Kuruks? You like Rhodians? I don't know, Rhodians was getting up in your life. Yeah, Kuruks is going to play 12 or 14 minutes. I like Harris over Kuruks. I would like Harris over Kuruks. I think more time. Magruder or Richardson on DK. Give me Jay Rich in a tournament. Magruder and cash. We answered that. Vooch or KD on DK. I'd play Vooch. Knox or Fournier. And by the way, don't Google Fournier. Don't do it. Knox or Fournier. Oladipo or Osman, more points. It's a good question. Oladipo and Osman. I'll take the O's there. Play Ayton and Gordon or get Vanna in there on FanDuel. Yes. Those are the... I'm fine with any of those. It depends what the hell else you're doing with your lineup, but Vonleh, Ayton, and Gordon would be my 3 favorite power forwards, I think by a pretty demonstrable amount. I like Portis a lot at 4,900, actually. Portis would stick his head in there, too. I like those 4 guys quite a bit. Hazonia or Clay on FanDuel? Clay. Hazonia is a shooting guard who costs us... I'm not even going to look. Should we play Evans on FanDuel or Fade? Do we know Tyreek? You're saying it. I think Tyreek plays. I gave my before, but you know I give 60-40 or something. So if the news hasn't come out yet, which seems odd, is that the 7:30 game? Is that the 7:30 game? Is that where I'm getting confused here? If that's the 7:30 game, we're at 2.5 minutes. Sorry guys, I'm doing everything I can, and I've got it coming in everywhere. No, it's a 7 o'clock game. They haven't given us Tyreek news yet. Fuck me. Morris or Chetty, DK Cash, I would play Chetty. Kemba or Depot, I would play Depot, but again, within a point or two, you're right. Can you play Gordon and Vooch together? You can. It will be not good more often than not, but the times it's good, it will be even betterer. Sexton versus Augustine, DK, I'd play Sex time. Win for Team Sex. 4,600 GPay utility help. Eddie Vanla already in. George Hill, I think it's actually interesting enough. I'm begging you to turn my notification sound off. It's driving you crazy. Yeah, but it lets me know that the paying customers are bugging me and they hate me right now. Which Bridges do you like? Miles, absolutely, because A, he's better, and B, McCall isn't playing. Iwundu Fournier over Frank and Chetty on DK, right? In cash, yes. In tournaments, I might actually go Frank and Chetty, but in cash, it would certainly be Iwundu Fournier. Wall, Clay, THJ, DK, Wall. Morris or Chetty, Wes, Fournier. I will lower the volume on my thing, though. I think that'll take me about 2 seconds. I have lowered my volume 46%. Wes and Fournier over Chetty and Frank. We're there again. Yeah, I've had that. I think Wes and Fournier and Cash is correct. Augustine or Chetty, DK Cash. I would play Chetty. Wall, Clay, THJ on DK. Still playing Wall. I think I'm kind of caught up. Can you play Knox and THJ together on FanDuel in a GPP? Absolutely. Try to run it back if you can, but yes. Also, I should bring my microphone closer. So one thing I forgot to do today: testing. I've been faint recently on some of my re-recordings, so I'm talking loud. But you guys, you're killing me. Ariza and Kemba or Collison and Godin. I would play Collison and Gordon. Frank, THJ, Vonleh, okay on one team? Absolutely. They're going to account for a lot of offense on this team. Adebayo's available according to RotoWire. Affect Whiteside at all? Not much. It does make him, 4% worse or something, them having a more competent backup. But I wouldn't super sweat it. Doesn't Beal own THJ? Most people do. Knox over Jackson and Cash. Yes, I think that's fine in those matchups. Normally I wouldn't, but yes, in these matchups. Regular Pacers starters, let's go. Yeah, that was pretty sure on that one. We miss anything? Markeith is out, somebody just wrote. It is 6 seconds to lock, so not much we can do there. But thankfully, I think I got 5 Markeith questions and answered the other guy each time, so... let's see if we can find some ownership. Let's take a look at the DraftKings. So that was fun. I feel pretty good about tonight. It won't be as good as Saturday, where like the whole group of us collectively made 16-1 on average or something, but it'll be good. Ooh, looking at my buddy's lineup. Wow. Some spicy meatballs in here. George Hill, 4.1%, Jabari Parker, 6.2%, and Stanley Johnson, 7.1%. It's a spicy GPP lineup. Those are all guys I said I liked in tournaments, so I can't hate on that too much. Here we go. Ownerships. Kemba Walker, 30.6. Victor Oladipo, 25.5. Collison, 23.1. Drummond, 22.1. Huh? Where are the guys from the other games? That doesn't make sense. Hold on a minute here. Hold on. Simmer down now. Simmer down now. What's going on here? Alright. I see. I get the picture. Okay. There are only 3 7 o'clock games. There are 2 7:30 games. That's why I was wondering why I was only seeing 3 games. I'll get back to my list here. Sexton at 15. Chetty at 22. Sexton at 15. Sabonis at 15. Batum at 10. Holiday at 9. Lance at 9. Blakeney at 8.5. Portis at 8.3. Oh. TJ Leaf at 8.3. 8.3% of people played the DraftKings price for TJ Leaf. You bold souls. Jeremy Lamb at 8%, I like that. Chris Dunn at 8%, I like that. Stan the Man at 7.1, I like that. D'Angelo Russell at 6.41, I'd really want less. Jabari at 6.15, I really like that. Miles Bridges at 5.43. Levert at 4.24. Hill at 4.13. Dinwiddie at 4%. Hernan Gomez at 4% here, which makes you wonder what he'll be over on the FanDuel. Cody Zeller, 4%. Monk a bit over 3. Justin Holiday a bit over 3. Bojan, 2.7. See, I got my Bogdanovic confused there. Wendell Carter, 2.3. All right, I'm excited at 2.3. Blake, 2%. Kyle O'Quinn, 1.8. Tyreek Evans, 1.71. See, that's what I was saying. Did we get Tyreek news and someone tell me and I just missed it? Because this is the only thing I know that was, like, pending. Like, what's going on with Tyreek? Someone said Pacers' normal starters about a minute and a half ago. About 4.5 minutes ago. Presuming that's counting, like, that wouldn't be counting Tyreek. Anyway, anyone get Tyreek news? Morris is a late scratch. Okay. Knox over Jackson and Cash. That was fine. Joe Harris, 0.6% on FanDuel. Do the thing, as Macho Man said. Tyreek, like 2%. Yeah, if Tyreek plays 2%, it's pretty exciting. Willie, only 3% on FanDuel. Interesting. I wish I had the Vonla number, but he is not yet stepping up to the plate. So there it is. That was fun. I did not do a Periscope recap last night, and I feel bad about that because last night was not that good. I overweighted the I'll eat my crow now because if I don't have crow at least once every couple of days, I get scurvy. So yeah, I was super into stacking the earlier game last night between the Bucks and the Wolves, as opposed to the later game between the Trailblazers and the Jazz, thinking that the earlier game would be faster, and Vegas agreed with me. The earlier game had an over-under like 17 points faster, and Vegas knows better than I do. Anyhow, it did not work out that way. The late game ended up scoring more points, and because the Timberwolves appeared to be really bad, their minutes actually got limited again. They played well less than their average number of minutes when I thought that number would have really come up. So long story short, my you should play like 5 Timberwolves theory didn't work out well. I like Taj. Taj did very well in the few minutes they let him play. Towns obviously, crushed face, and Okogie crushed, and one other value guy was good. But yeah, it didn't work out. So Sunday, not good. Friday, very good. Saturday, all worldly. I tell you, we had and Sunday 1-game slate. Like 5 people got in there when I noticed it was only going to fill halfway, and there was a 5K tournament on FanDuel that filled 300 out of like. It had 480 entries in it and 300 cashed, and people were running trains in there. And one of the trains, someone had like tied with himself 7 times for second, and there were a few other people with like 6 entries in the top 50. So that was like a nice few free. Jason Smith spot. Yeah, are we? So I'm trying to think. Are the Wizards one of the? I just keep getting confused with which game. So that is a 7:30 game. So yeah, you're asking me. There's actually on DraftKings some interesting information here, because is Jason Smith confirmed as starting? Yeah, it's a half-hour pass game. Wait, so with Richardson starting, does that mean Regruder to the bench? Um, I think it probably means Winslow to the bench. Not that it really matters, especially in the preseason. They're Heat guys. They're all going to play 20x minutes. Like, it's not good, but Richardson playing and starting, um, him or Winslow or Ellington are just going to all play their 24 there. Not confirmed starting. Smith only 4.1 though on DK. Yeah, there have been a couple fairly beefy Jason Smith games over the last. Bam Adebayo, by the way, I said just the other day. I want to point that out. Courtney Lee is out. Mitchell Robinson is out. So our Vonla should be in full Vonla mode. Big Sauce is out again. Lance Thomas will start the year as the starting power forward. Whew. I think I would rather play Lance Thomas still over Jason Smith. But certainly in tournaments, that's a reasonable place to go. You get the random Jason Smith games. I'm really trying to I'm trying to figure out right now how they're going to align their defense. And I think it will end up being straight up. So he will get, Lance Thomas on him, which isn't wonderful. But yeah, I think Jason Smith will be appropriately low owned in tournaments. And you can certainly run him out there. Let me check and see how many minutes he played last game. I want to say it was like 16, which would be, encouraging some sort of safety in the event that he doesn't randomly pick up the spot. They could go small and play Ubra. I think that's actually a little bit more likely. But either way, you would portend some extra minutes for White Boy there. 17. That was close. That would have been good. 9, 3, and 2 with 5 personal fouls in those 17 minutes. So maybe a couple more minutes were coming. I do think they thinned that rotation a little bit tonight with Chioza and Bryant and Randall and all that. Probably maybe see a little more Bryant with Keefe out. But I think Jason Smith would be the Smith or Ubra would be the two guys to look at there. Ubra. How does RotoWire have what news before any of the beat writers? Best swap from Morris on DK, same price or lower. I don't know what that price is offhand. Let me look at what do we got here. All right, the 50K and one excellent 8s. Let's see. Who hasn't started his game already is where this gets interesting. Let's see. Let me find Chief Keefe there. And then... Where the hell are you? I guess I'm going to actually have to type in your name, Markeith. 4,900 was his price. I'm assuming you have Vonla, because obviously we've climbed all over that goddamn play. I will also presume I need to be at least a forward. But if I see any guard that makes me super happy, I'll yell it out. Just play Jordan Bell. And Rodney Magruder's playable at the 3 as well. I don't hate that. I obviously like it more FanDuel for the stone minimum than paying up more a little bit here. Josh Richardson, if he gets confirmed starting, which I believe they say he's going to, I imagine Winslow goes to the bench and Magruder stays in. That's my best guess. Josh Richardson at 4,800 is pretty interesting. Should I play Magruder or Richardson since Richardson is starting? I would play Richardson for what I expect to be lower ownership, but just in tournaments, they may ease him in. I projected him playing 20 minutes, and that was me, sort of hedging that exact situation. If you could play a center, which hopefully you couldn't if you built your lineup well, Jan Mahinmi is interesting at 46. And maybe even a little more so with Keefe out, because Keefe does get 5 time. Can't play Mitchell. Could play Looney too. So There are some names. Tonight's Stars versus the Magic from Geico. Dragic, Richardson, Winslow. Okay, so Magruder moved to the bench. I don't think that's necessarily a downgrade for him. I probably would consider it a slight upgrade. I want to spend less time next to, Whiteside and Dragic and other guys who can do stuff. But, again, it wouldn't really concern me. But, yeah, I would play Jay Rich over him at this point. Iwundu point projection. 19.1, I think. Someone asked me that before, so I recall looking at it. Oh, God damn it. I don't want your stinky DK thing. I'm just trying to find my projections. $19.1. Boom. Nailed it. I have no idea why I remembered that one particularly. Depending on the spot, could put in Jay Simmons or McGruber for Morris. You could also put in Josh. Do I like Whiteside? Not so much as a human being, but as a play tonight and as a center, yes, I do. How do you look younger than you did 3 years ago? What's your secret? I moisturize with my own seed. No. Probably it's just that my hair is cut shorter, which my wife tells me makes me look younger. That's what I got for you. TJ Leaf starting. Yeah, TJ is the replacement for Thad. Normally, Thad's backup plays 16 minutes a game. Thad plays 32. Thad's out. He starts. They back him up with somebody else. Top 3-4 guys for Suns Warriors. Ayton and Jackson are the guys you really want on Phoenix. You really don't want to play anyone else unless you have to. But if it's a one-game slate, obviously you may have to. And for the Warriors, it's Steph and Clay and Durant. After that, probably still Bell, then Looney. After that'd be a little interesting for me. They don't like to give Iguodala time. Cook can have a game, but he's risky as hell. They're going to play like 16 dudes. I'd probably go back to Phoenix after that. We're in peak preseason form now. Eddie talking about moisturizing with his seed. Yeah. Smell. It's dreadful. This is why you hate MME swapping on your phone. That sounds terrible. I have no interest in doing that. Can you give me a second guard on FanDuel for Turbo Slate? Clay and no clue for second guy. It has to be a guard on FanDuel for Turbo Slate? I don't even know what the... Like a shooting guard? I'll just look. Thad Young out means more minutes for Sabonis? Yes, it does. Drummond already with a rebound. That will not be the last one. I'm going to make a bold prediction. Okay. Preseason? Is that what I should be clicking here? This looks like it's tonight. 4K shot. Oh, it's the 7:30 turbo. Wait a minute. It can't be the 7... Yes, it is. It's the 3 games starting at 7:30. Okay, I've got it. So I imagine you're looking for a shooting guard, just not just guard, right? Are we talking about DK? You've officially confused the living crap out of me with that question, apparently. Yes, preseason, then turbo. Thank you for this. Okay, no problem. Shooting guard, right. So Clay, and you need to pick another dude, and no one is good, is what you're saying, which sounds about right. I don't want to spend $6,000 on Hazonia, but I don't know if there's any actual salary cap on this slate. So just gross points, which I'm guessing is what it would be. It's Magruder and Hazonia. After that, it gets it's either Tyler Johnson or Dwayne Wade or Iguodala, who somehow got bumped up to the 2. But, yeah, I think I'd probably go Mario. But, sticky. Frank and AG or Fournier. I get Fournier and Fournier when I come to California. Frank and AG or Fournier and Knox. I'll stick with Fournier and Knox. Thought TT would come back and start. Did Nance start again? Ooh. Chetty for 3? Yes. Drummond all the way with a rebound? Yeah. 2 rebounds? Yeah. If you list every time Drummond gets a rebound in chat, it's going to be spam. THJ, I mean, like, it might just be for the first half because they might be up by 31 and they might rest him a little bit. He's going to do some damage. Hill 0.7 in the FanDuel quarter GPP. Yeah, I don't know if Hill's doing anything. There's a real chance he plays 30 minutes and has 11 fantasy points. But he can make threes and get steals and do enough stuff that with no Hood and no Love and no Clarkson, I think he might play 29 minutes or something. And if he does, it's pretty exciting. Jeff Green, with the news there, I think I'd slightly rather Jason Smith, but you could play Jeff Green now. Yeah. Safe to lock in Vooch 100% across 8 lineups, same price as Whiteside. Like, I think he will be lower owned. I would rather make that play, so I would, yes. But Whiteside is going to outscore Vooch 50% of the time. Now, you're going to do really well the other 50% because you're going to have Vooch at, 31%, and Whiteside's going to be, 46% on that slate, so... But, yeah, I would probably just lock it the fucking. THJ Jackson DK utility. I will play THJ. Reggie Bulk pump faked Alan Crabb, and Crabb is down and looks like in serious pain after falling. Oh, someone might play 22 minutes on the Nets now. I'm sorry, Alan Crabb. You know who that is good for, though? Karis LeVert. Oh, we keep having these shows that go half-minute pack. It is Curry bobblehead day. Oh, I can't believe I forgot him. The worst tout ever. God, that trumps all the other analysis. Damn it. It's not his birthday, is it? I have just too many Mountain Dew wounded soldiers on my desk. I'll make that clear. It's just too much. Too much. Yay for your Trevion Graham shares. Yeah. There you go. And let me tell you, if you have Trevion Graham shares, you need all the help you can get. So, I'm with you, buddy. Get her done. So there it is. Okay, so I'm going to take off. There's obviously a lot of great basketball to watch. Don't forget to play some Monday Night Football. Thanks for joining me. I'm kind of curious how many people actually showed up because, again, the Periscope wasn't on. Curry ham. There's no curry playing right now. And by the way, curry chicken would be much better. Even curry pork. Curry ham. That sounds gross. With that note, I am FastEddieFear. I only have to click one button to stop the show right now. I'm really, really excited. I will be back tomorrow and every day through the end of the preseason, which is Friday, after which time I'll probably be back for the regular season, but I may move to the Arctic, live in an igloo, get a new job as a Sherpa. You'll have to come back to find out.